Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Rooted But Real. We're going to get into discussing the busyness, the wanting to be present, finding the balance, and also the burnout that we face constantly, and just trying to figure out how to navigate it as parents, as couples, and giving you guys what we do, how we discovered it, and hoping that we can all grow together. Welcome to Rooted But Real.
How have you realized burnout shows up in everyday life?
That's a great question. I think burnout, especially for me, shows up me. I can get very hangry or very irritated. I can find myself waking up and having a great to-do list and then feel like I'm executing it, but then by maybe 2 o'clock, I'm mid crashing. Why? Because I probably didn't get enough sleep. I probably did too much and didn't prioritize the top three things that I needed to do. And another one is understanding that if I don't wake up and take time for myself, let my mind might wake up and give my body what it needs, then it shows up in me being irritable. So anytime you try to ask me a question, I'm immediately like moody. It's like, what do you want? Like, we can figure it out, or you just go figure it out without asking me. But in reality, that's not being patient. That's not being caring. That's not being kind. It's just what feels easy to me. Like, he knows I'm tired. Like, just figure it out. And I think for me, that's the easiest way to really point out burnout for me, because in reality, what I'm saying is I'm tired and I really just need time. How do you feel like it shows up for me?
I think you probably hit the nail on the head. Just the irritation is, I think, where it starts for you. And I've had to learn what that looks like and how to recognize those signs. I think for me, when before I understood what it was, like especially early in marriage, I was just like, man, like what's wrong with her? Something's off. Like she has problems. She's God, like, Lord, did you send me the right one? Because it's just like I didn't understand. And I didn't as fathers, as husbands, like a lot of times we think big on like, she birthed a child and all that stuff and how massive of an event that is. But we don't see the recovery and the day-to-day that happens after that. And so I think for you and for us, because we had four young children back to back to back. um I think I started to see it probably later than I wish I would have. Um, because for me, life never really stopped. But for you, everything changed and recovery was different and stuff. And so I definitely could see it in, the hangriness. I could see it in the tiredness of your morning. And like, it could be 11 a.m. and I'm thinking the day's just getting started. But for you, it feels like a week has gone by. And um, what I'm sometimes experiencing in those moments is I'm seeing the burnout in you. Um, and sometimes it comes off as different colors or as different emotions. And I think I'm learning how to recognize what that looks like, um, and how to identify it.
How do you feel like it shows up in your life? Hot seat, hot seat.
That's a good question. It's so hard because I pride myself in always being calm and even kilter, and I think just because I'm calm doesn't mean I'm not burnt out, and just because I don't yell and scream or snap out or whatever else doesn't mean I'm not burnt out. For me, I feel like I get um, very antsy, and mentally I'm just like, man, I'm trying to escape. I think over the last maybe year or so, you can probably attest to this, but I would label certain things that's like, man, I need to get this. I need to get on Madden and I need to play for 3 hours because it just helps me and it helps me. But what I was really saying is, and what I never really understood is, man, I'm burnt out. The day got me. I'm burnt. I'm tired. I work all day. I come home. I try to make sure you're good. And I think I told you, like, it feels like it doesn't stop. And and when those days hit, I think for me it shows up as like, what am I trying to run to? I'm always waiting for everything to be done to get to my time. Those are also usually the nights where I stay up super late and I do night revenge and I try to make my time back because 11 o'clock to 2 a.m. is the only time I get for me. And so I'm going to just take that time and breathe, and then I'm tired in the morning. And then there's consequences to that. When I was 20 years old, it's a lot easier than when you're 30. So, yeah, I think I'm still finding out what that looks like, and I'm still recognizing it in my everyday. Because for men, we're supposed to just take it, and we're supposed to just, hey, just put it on your back and just deal with it, and like, don't complain. And that was the thing. Like, if as long as I don't complain, even biblically, like, Lord, I'm not complaining about anything. I'm not this, but in my heart, how do I feel? In my mind, what am I really thinking about when my wife asks me to do that one more thing? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
already burned out. What I may not say it, but what am I actually thinking? What am I actually? How's my demeanor? Am I loving? Am I still giving you what you need, or am I trying to put everybody away so I can just have that time instead of trusting you enough to say, hey, I'm tired and I'm burnt out. Hey, I'm at the end. Because we're taught to, I don't tap out, I don't quit. I'm gonna tough it out. But I'm learning that it's so important to say that, because how can you ever respond in the way I need as my wife if I never communicate that with you? If I never say, hey, like, I need this right now.
Right.
And never give you the opportunity to say, like, I got you.
Mm-hmm. And with that, it's like if you never give me the opportunity to meet you where you are, it's almost like you never give us an opportunity to grow. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of couples struggle with is honestly letting their vulnerability show. Because maybe in the first few years of marriage, you're trying to figure each other out, but there's a lot that y'all got to jump through together. And sometimes we forget to put our boxing gloves down with our partners because it's so easy to be in self preservation mode than it is to say, hey, I got you. And I think sometimes burnout shows up in marriages because you forget you're on the same team. And it's like, no, ain't nobody looking out for me. Ain't nobody caring about what I'm going through. Nobody can see it. You don't see what I'm going through. You don't know what I'm going through. And it's like, no, I don't know what you're going through in your head. Only person who knows your thoughts is God Himself. Only person. And I think this last year, I've definitely seen you say it more. And I've been proud of that because I remember the days where I would just say, you would ask me, how was the day? And I'm just like, man, I'm so tired because of this, and that, even though it was at the end of the day. And you'd be like, okay. And I'm tired because of this. And I'd be like, wait a minute. Like, can we sit with my feelings real quick? Because I want to be able to kind of feel a little bit of validation, kind of feel a little bit of affirmation, kind of feel a little bit of encouragement at that time because I kind of need that to keep going.
Yeah.
It's like I know I can reset myself, but being married means I don't have to do it myself. Being married means I can lean on you more and I can say, hey, give me something to just, give me a what is it called? A pep talk.
Pep talk.
Give me a pep talk. Give me something that's going to keep me going. And I know it's important that every day when I wake up, I find time with God, because some days you're not going to be able to do that, because some days you don't have it in you. And if you don't recognize that, and if we don't see and identify that, then it's just like, okay, we're just going. We're going every day. We're going every day. And sometimes if we never really have those conversations and we never get to understand where the other person is coming from, then sometimes when we are upset at whatever happened, we can take it out on each other, because it feels like everything's happening to me and nothing's happening to you.
Wow, that's good. That's very good. I think the other thing that I've found in the last year or two is the fact that like I can be physically present but mentally just disconnected. I think that for me, for dads, like that's something that we have to be conscious about, and we got to constantly be aware of, because I think or at least for me, my brain is constantly going. I'm constantly thinking about something, and I get one track minded a lot. And I'm just like, okay, cool, but I'm with the kids, but am I? I'm with the kids, but I'm actually, or I'm with you and you're talking to me, but am I actually engaged in what you're saying? Or am I listening, waiting for you to be done?
Right.
And um, you know, there was a time where I had realized that even when I would put the kids to bed, like during their bedtime routine, I was just on my phone, because all day I wasn't on my phone doing social stuff. I was on my phone doing work or emails or texts or whatever. And like I realized with laying with Luca that um, I hadn't really talked to him. I hadn't really took a moment what bedtime should be. And we pray and we do all this stuff. But it was just like, man, like I am right here. He'll never be 3 or 4 years old again. He'll never be daddy, come sleep in my bed, you know? And this is the moment where he can feel seen. This is the moment where each kid, because when you have so many kids, right? When we have 4 kids, I try to make bedtime that one moment where feel like they just get their time. Because during the day, everybody's together. You got 2, you got 3, you got all 4. Very rarely do you just have one. And so I've had to shift that and make that time that one-on-one time. I laid last week. I just laid with Leia, and I just let her just tell me whatever she was thinking about, and we just talking. And I laid with Luca, and even tonight I told him, he was like, "Man, can you sleep with me again?" Because I used to obviously sleep with him. We used to sleep together, and I was like, you know what, man, like we're gonna one day this week, I'm gonna sleep with you again. And he just got so excited. He's like, what day? What day? You know?
Oh.
And so we're gonna pick a day. But just making it like that time can be so special. And a lot of times I would think, man, if I was with him all day, then that equals time. But what I'm learning is there has to be intentionality behind that, because we can be together all day and never grow any closer in our
Right.
relationship. We can be together all day and nothing comes from it. I can spend all day and we can still be strangers. And so being intentional about the time that you spend, or the time that I spend, is what I'm learning to when it comes to managing busyness.
Right. That's good. I think for me, managing busyness means putting my checklist down. I think in my head, if I get this done and stay busy, I'm getting through the day. I'm getting through time. Time is moving faster. However, what I've realized is because I'm homeschooling the boys, busyness isn't always good. They need slow and steady. And it's the complete opposite of what I was raised up to be. We had our time growing up, and but we were so used to the next thing. So when I wake up, I want to do the next thing, and I found myself getting irritated because the boys would want to just do one thing for an amount of time. And I'm just like, no, we gotta move to the next thing. Like, we gotta stay on schedule. Like, what are you doing? But when I stopped picking up and trying to just check off my to-do list, I realized the bond grew deeper when we just sat still. I was doing counseling one day, and my therapist told me about this practice. She's like, just sit 20 minutes by yourself and just listen to God. If your mind wanders, bring it back. And I was like, you don't know what 20 minutes I got, but I don't got 20 minutes to sit still. And she was like, see, that's the problem is as children, we just never sit still. Then as adults, we feel like sitting still means we're being unproductive, we're being unproductive, we're not getting things done. And I was like, I haven't sat still since I've had kids. When I'm being still, I'm either watching something, I'm scrolling, I'm working. There is no sitting still in this house. And if somebody is, everybody get up, let's keep going. But that's because that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. That's not a them problem. It's the fact that I didn't grow up with parents who sat still. And I think because of that, I have a hard time sitting still because I feel like I'm a couch potato. I'm not doing anything. And having kids, in the beginning, I felt like they slowed me down. And I got really, really frustrated with the truth of motherhood because you just have to slow down. And it's hard, but it's worth it because your kids, they don't get to be rushed through life. They get to grow up according to their time. And I think that's what I saw this season is like, there is no rush. We never arrive. So what is the point in pushing them for what? And so now we're at a place where I make my list before the day so my mind doesn't make so many decisions that creates burnout for me. And if I get to the things I get to, great. If we don't, I'm okay. And that is what I've realized in this season when it comes to finding my balance again.
I think that's so powerful because what we can see there is, and you said this quickly, like you are used to being busy, and what we can see there is the lie of busyness, right? That being frantic is being fruitful, and it's not. Or that, like you said, it can be socially accepted to be just keep going because that's what we're taught to do. Hey, don't slow down. Grind. And I love that you're slowing down, not just for your mental sake, but so that the kids don't get swept up in a life of, did I do enough today?
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's a level of discipline, there's a level of drive that I want them to have that I think is very important. But the Bible tells us and shows us, God shows us that rest is just as much is just as important as all the things we can do.
Because even to that point, God created the world, but on the Sabbath day, he rested from everything that he worked hard doing for the other 6 days. And I think that's something we don't sit with enough because for us, The Sabbath day is work, right? Like you gotta go, gotta wake up, gotta go to work. However, if God took time, who are you to not take time? Right. That's why now on Saturdays, I'm like, whatever you want to do. Because even though I want the time to breathe, I'd rather have that time to let go. Mm. Have the time to not make my mind think. That's why you probably be like, ooh, I don't know what to do. Like, what's this new version? But it's just like, I want to feel rest and be rested. Whatever I want to do, let's do. And I think as a society, as people, we need to understand the importance of rest. Because the reason why you keep feeling like your days are going is because you don't know true rest yet. You don't have it. You have a wife, you have 4 kids, but it's okay to rest. Yeah. And I think the most powerful thing my mom was saying, I said last week when she was talking about the passing of her mother, she was saying, it's okay, Mama, you can rest now. Because as parents, we feel like we can't, but that's a lie. Because even though we're still parents, we're still somebody's child. We all deserve to have time to reset mentally. And that's what I love about God in this season, is understanding that in Him I find my rest. In Him I find my refuge. And hoping to share that with the kids too. That when they feel anxious, when they feel fearful, and when they're afraid, they understand that in God we can find our place. It's not in things, it's not in each other. Because if I'm afraid, Trey, there's nothing you can say that's going to make me not afraid. Like, I'm going to need the work of Jesus to come down. But it's understanding the key.
Right. The last thing I wanted to kind of hit when we're talking about burnout is how burnout shows up in marriage. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And how that busyness, that anxiety can kill intimacy. Correct. And I think I mentioned it, but it's like slowing down is also for you. So that I can hear you, so that I can see you, so that I can understand you. And not, I think that's how people get into like the roommate phase, or like the, we're coexisting instead of connecting. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm just grateful for those seasons because we're getting through them, like we got through them. So I feel like the longer we're married, the more I'm seeing and the more I'm understanding. I thought, intimacy growing up was always just one thing. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay.
The bees and the birds and the bees.
The birds and the bees. Yeah, like, no, and we can talk about it. Like, if we're having sex, that's intimacy. That's the thing. I never learned emotional intimacy. I never learned how to be known and how to know somebody. And not just know about them, but actually know them and have those intimate moments. So a lot of times for us, at the end of the night, and we're just talking, laying down in bed, is intimacy. And so I've seen how the busyness of everything can block that. And I think that is one of the ways the enemy comes in. And if you're not careful, that'll turn into, oh, well, I guess you start having those thoughts about, well, she doesn't care about me. She doesn't see me. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know my favorite cereal. She doesn't. Mm-hmm. She doesn't. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Let's go there.
It's like, it's something to be watchful about and something to be mindful of, so that you don't slip, or so that if you slip, you can get up and I can come back to you and be like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry about this. I missed this. And being able to see those moments, you're not going to get everything right. And the goal is not to be perfect or that you will. The goal is that when you mess up or when you get it wrong, you can approach it in the right way to fix it. So
And bouncing off of that, what is one or a few ways that you found yourself reviving the intimacy between us?
So I would say a few ways. The first way would be making time to hear you. So I'm more reserved. I'm more chill. I'm not. I'm learning how to be in those intimate spaces, and I think I've been able to just see you and offer up or give opportunity where we can connect. When we took those life languages, we took a life language kind of test just to kind of see how we understand things and how we see things, and I thought that was so helpful because the question you're always asking is, are we connecting? And so learning how important that was for you, making space for us to connect, whether it's on a phone call. I think it'll just be, hey, I'm thinking about you at work. And I know we can't probably talk and have a whole hour, but just something to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, or getting you flowers. I think it hit me hard when we were doing Christmas shopping and I told you, like, hey, I don't just go out and just buy you stuff. I don't do it for me either, but in that way, I mean, music stuff,
Man, you be
strings,
coming
and
home with this stuff.
but it's like, man, like I was like, I caught myself, and I was like, man, it hit my heart. I was like, Lord, like, man, I don't just go out. I don't just say, man, Trinity needs a new sweatshirt because it's getting cold. Let me just go pick one up for her that I know she would like. And I don't do that. And a lot of times I've made the excuse of like, oh, well, she needs me at home because it's so hectic, and the busyness and the ghost of all the things our checklist and all the things we have to do. And it suffocated my desire to want to be intimate with you, really, honestly, out of selfishness, thinking that if I don't self-preserve, if I don't take care of myself, then nobody will. And you don't even realize in those moments the lies that you can tell yourself, that you can believe, that you can act out, that you're operating under, even before you ever realize it.
That goes to the saying and the scripture that we always talk about, out of the heart, the issues flow. And I think that's something that men don't talk about enough,
Yeah.
is how they self-preserve, how they self-medicate. And I think that's something that I'm interested to hear more about. How do you fight that?
For me, it's just been the word. I think the more you get into the presence of God, the more he'll reveal these things about you. And he shows me when, even if something's wrong, and sometimes it's annoying because I'm like, come on, God, like, come on. But he reveals these things to us, and if you ask him, he'll do it. And he reveals like where my frustrations are actually coming from.
Right.
I'll get mad at you or be frustrated about something, and then I get in the shower trying to take a second, and here he comes, and he's just like, yeah, but did you love her rightly? Did you love her like I love the church? Did you, were you slow to anger? What is it? Are you really mad at that? Or are you mad, or are you upset about this? And then I'm like, okay, like then I got to deal with it. And I'm coming out the shower and I'm apologizing to you about whatever, because he deals with us, and he's gentle and kind, and he deals with us in those ways. I think the other thing outside of the Holy Spirit helping me is just admitting it.
Right.
Like I thought it was so manly and so tough to not, but all that does is it eats at you, and it rots you from the inside, versus admitting it and trusting in who you are as my wife, and trusting that I can be vulnerable with you. And I found that when I admit it, um, it's actually taking the weight off of me.
Right.
Um, Regardless of what you say or what anybody says, it's taking the weight off of me. And that's honestly been one of the single best things I could have done, is to say, you know what, I'm actually not good right now. You know what, I'm actually not my best. Because you can't work on something you never acknowledge. You can't work on or fix something that we never say is actually broken, that actually needs fixed. And so, yeah. When did you recognize, or how did you recognize that your partner wasn't the problem, that I wasn't the problem, but that burnout or stress was?
I don't know if I got an answer. Okay, so I think I realized when every day I still felt the same, right? I think even when I reset and I woke up, I was still depleted. I was still tired. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Um, and we wouldn't talk or we wouldn't. I realized, okay, when he comes home, he's hands on, or he's, how can I help? What do you need? And usually when you ask me that, I'm like, oh, relief. Okay, we're in this together. But when my mood didn't change, I realized it was not you. I was just angry and tired and sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I realized that if you were coming home and you were coming with your hands wide open and trying to just take a load off or meet a need, and I was still kind of deeply rooted in whatever I was going through, then I realized, like, oh, I'm not mad at Trey. And then through that, I was able to identify what my triggers were and how I got to the point I got to. For instance, today, we've been together all day. Uh, and we had different assignments today, and that was cool. But when I left, I could have left and had a great time, but I was so tired because I didn't eat. And so usually I go out and I'm excited. I was telling you I haven't been out. Like, I haven't left the house this week. And it's Monday. It's a new week, right? But even when I went out, I was still exhausted and I didn't even want to do the very thing I went out for. At that point, it wasn't because you gave me grace and, hey, I'll take the load. It was the fact that I needed to be asleep or I needed to eat because I had a migraine. And I think sometimes the burnout or the busyness and the constant, you miss you. And I think today I'm realizing, okay, dial it back. Because not only am I missing me, I'm missing my family.
Right.
I'm missing my friends. People will see me get on social media every day and post something. But I am a terrible texter backer. Not because I don't want to, it's because I'm constantly feeling I don't have the capacity to even say hi.
Right.
Or if we're trying to figure out what day to plan, I don't even want to look at the calendar.
Wow.
Because I'm mentally just not at a place to even do that. And it's not that, I was talking about depression earlier. It's not about even being depressed. It's literally the fact that I'm just tired. I just want to have a day where I don't have to let my mind go and figure it out. And for moms, we're always doing the girl math, the mom math, where if we're going someplace, especially if I'm taking the boys, I gotta think back. If I gotta be there at 10 a.m., then we gotta wake up at 7 a.m. and I gotta be ready by 8 a.m. so they can get ready and be ready by 8:30 a.m. So I make sure that they eat, that they get their energy out, and then we're at the place by 10 because I have to calculate distance. See, all of those decisions I have to make tire us out. It drains us. So I'd rather not make them because I know the constant questions, the constant plans, all of that is exhausting me. And it doesn't mean in this season I don't want to be like a great friend or a great mom. It just means like it's overwhelming. And even when I'm trying to run errands and take things back, right? Because I'm all about, let me get my money back. It's, I can't even do that because I lacked the proper discipline for myself. And so it shows up in that way, um, that you just start missing little things that you need.
I think that was such a good point, even about the texting back, because it's like, man, like I struggle with that too sometimes. I got hundreds of missed texts, and it's like sometimes I'm like, man, I can't hold a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not you're a terrible texter or you're not a terrible communicator. It's just you're managing life and the stress of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's such a beautiful way to put it because a lot of people probably feel that.
Yeah.
Um,
They feel like they're a bad friend because they can't even keep a good track record. But that's life. And I think the more we're honest about what we're all dealing with is the more honest we can realize like we're not bad friends. We just have bad time management because obviously there is something that consumes so much of space in our mind that we cannot properly have just a regular day, right? It's like we have all these things. How could I, our, the way we think is how could I cram all this stuff into 24 hours? But 60-year-olds, older people, they say it's not about how much you can cram, but how many moments are you actually living through? Because all that older people want is more time.
Yep.
And all we want is, I can't even tell you. That's what I'm talking about. I
Easier
can't
life.
even tell you what we want because it's so much.
Easier.
It's so much.
Yeah.
But what you said earlier was beautiful because for me as a wife looking in, all I want is more time with you, more time to see our kids with you. But when you're burnt out, it's so evident that no one can get time. And what kills intimacy is when your partner leaves the room and you know they about to go play a game or get what they need without saying. Trey used to do this thing where he would just play hours and I'd be like, where are you? What are you doing? It's been 3 hours. And
2 games. 2 Madden games.
it seems like that, but it's been 3 hours. And what kills intimacy is feeling like you can't be honest about what you need. And I feel like we do this thing where it's harder to say what we need because it feels like we're going to hold it against each other. Like, why do you need so much?
Yeah.
Why do you need that? Why am I not good enough is what it feels like. However, the reality is everyone needs time by themselves. That's where the saying comes from. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And when you realize it's not that I don't want to be with you, it's just I need to figure out what I need.
Mm-hmm.
That's what builds intimacy, is being honest about what you're feeling. Trey used to come home and he'd be like, oh, I'm good. Then he'll be in the bathroom for like 5 hours. And I'm just like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I didn't even go. I just needed a second. And I'd be like, why didn't you just say that? Why? But as men, I don't know if we make space enough for you to feel your feelings. Because in my head, I've been home with the kids all day. Well, I mean, you've been in your office, or you've been out, you've been shopping and going out grabbing lunch, and because I'm an introvert and because you're an extrovert, it just feels like you're living life.
Mm-hmm.
But now I understand that just because you're an extrovert does not mean you're not getting drained. Because we know the definition, extroverts get energy around people, whereas introverts, they lose their energy. And so they have to recharge by themselves, which is why it makes it harder. And I was on chat the other day now, and I was like, chat, like, help me because I'm an introvert, but I'm a mom. And it's so hard because I cannot recharge during the day. And chat was like, you better put them kids down for an hour. Like, you have to have that time, because when you don't and you just run right through, I feel like I'm good. But then I'll come up in a second later when they're like, hey, I want to change what I'm doing. I'm like, no, just stay in what you're doing. Just stay here. Why can't we just sit and play blocks for like,
Right.
10 minutes? And then I see it, the irritability seeping through. I see it because I didn't take that time when I should have. So now I know it's a mandatory 1 hour reset, or even maybe an hour and 30 minutes, where they have independent play in their room, or Noah's asleep and taking a nap. Then I don't have to worry, right? But I'm able to recharge so I can finish my race well
Mm-hmm.
for the day. So when then y'all come home and when I have to leave and go get Nyla, I don't feel like I didn't get any time.
Yep,
Because
exactly.
when I feel like that constant, oh, I'm probably Dracula. So my last question.
Okay.
I know that we're about to wrap it up. Obviously, today we went longer. But if someone were to walk up to you today and say, hey, Trey, what do you think is the key to getting your relationship back on track in the busyness of life and the busyness of your job and the busyness of parenting? How do you find foundation to just get back into it? Because we talked about it. We didn't touch bases on it as much, but we've talked about being in the roommate phase, and we'll talk about that later on.
Yep.
But how do you get back on track when you're off?
So that's a great question. I think first thing is, like I said earlier, you have to acknowledge where you're at.
Mm,
And so both people in that relationship have to acknowledge and say, hey, this is here. We're not where we need to be. We've had talks like that. We are not at the place that I would like us to be at, but I want us to get there.
right.
And I want to get there with you. And I think the second thing is, and this is the part that I personally don't like, and I don't think anybody likes it, but you have to be open to hearing your blind spots. Because if you never look at your blind spots, and you've shown me this a lot, you'll never see the areas where the other person where you may need to grow at.
Mm,
You'll always stick to your tunnel vision of, okay, I'm doing these things. Yeah, but there's these things, or those things aren't the problem. This
correct.
is. And I think that is extremely, extremely important in reconciliation and reconciling the relationship, or, kind of getting out of that phase. I think obviously the biggest thing is to be grounded in faith, because I know there are plenty of times that we've taken things to God and He's dealt with you or He's dealt with me. And I think that's such a benefit that believers have in relationships and in marriages. We get married and the threefold or strand cord is not easily broken, and we say all those things, but then in our day to day, we don't live like that. And so being, like Pastor just preached about yesterday, being anchored
Mm,
and being fixed to Him allows us to have that direct lifeline, because again, when I've come back and apologized, most times it wasn't me I just went and just said, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it
It
wasn't.
was it was I'm telling you, it was the Holy Spirit who was like, hey.
Because I'd be like, what do you want?
Right, and I'm like, hey,
I said, go ahead and keep it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we've prayed for things of, oh, I want to see this, or oh, I want to see that. And sometimes that's all you have to do. And then the Holy Spirit does it over time. And you start to see, like, man, this is what I prayed for. I think the other big thing, too, is understand that the issues are the problem, not the person.
Right.
And so when you attach the issues to the person, then it's really easy to label them as that and dismiss them because you're trying to get rid of the problem. But when you separate the problem and say, no, me and my wife are on the same team, me and my wife do love each other, me and my wife are trying to get to this place, it's just this thing.
Right.
Then you separate that. And now when I approach you, when I talk to you, it's not to confront you, it's to confront this thing. And let's put this on the table. And I think when you do that, you make space for just all the stuff, the I'm sorry's, the vulnerability of what relationships actually look like. It's not all fluff and a knight in shining armor comes and Cinderella and we dancing at the ball forever. There's going to be hard times. There's going to be things that are annoying and things that you have to work through, things you have to say, you know what, I'll deal with that, and things you're like, man, I need to speak up about this because it's affecting me. And so if somebody asked me that would be what I would say, man, like, stay rooted, know where you're at, be open to apologizing, and don't attach the person to the problem.
That's beautiful. And I think that's a beautiful way to end because I want to end strong. I think it's important to leave with what you just said, because what you did say is to not be anchored to any of these things. Because when we anchor ourselves in our feelings, when we anchor ourselves in our beliefs, when we anchor ourselves in all these other things, it's easy to just move wherever they pull us. But when you anchor yourself in God, even when we cannot win over our partner's heart, God can. And I think that right there is all we needed to hear, because there's somebody who needed this message, because I knew I was that somebody years ago. Sometimes, or not even sometimes, but we can't move the mountains. Only God can move the mountains. And sometimes it's not just the mountain as our partner, right? That's what we like to do. It's not attaching it to our partner. It's a mountain in front of our partner.
Right.
And only faith can move that mountain. So thank you so much for just anchoring us today in truth and in biblical truth, but also just real conversations, because I know younger me would have appreciated somebody really getting out there in the battlefield and telling the truth of what the busyness can do.
Yeah.
It can kill your intimacy. It can pull you apart. But it's not just leaving it there, but it's also letting someone know how to get it back.
Absolutely.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed episode 2 of Rooted But Real. Thank you for just doing life with us as we enjoy understanding as you guys are understanding, growing as you guys are growing, and being able to just sit here and keep it real.